This is a betting show. Do we got odds on whether the fans will boo Brady if he scores a touchdown or not? That is that'll be interesting to see.
This is Big Man Bets with the Hall of Famer Orlando Pace and perhaps the Hall of Famer to be in Nick Mangold on the ballot. Big week this week, Nick Mangold. Orlando, why don't you be the first to congratulate Nick on getting on the ballot?
Absolutely. Congratulations, Nick. It's a hell of an honor, obviously, to be mentioned as one of the greats of all time on the ballot. It's a process, so enjoy the process. Sometimes it can be a long process, but for you, I think it'll be a short. You're well deserving of the honor, man, and all the best to you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that coming from a guy that I grew up watching and idolized. I really appreciate that. So thank you.
No doubt, no question.
Nick, let me be standard media guy right now. What does it mean to you to be on the ballot? 7-time Pro Bowler, wore one jersey your entire career. It's a hell of an honor, man.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable just to be considered, to be a part of it. Going through the game, never even thought of it. Was just playing to have fun. And now it's out of my control, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. But it's something really cool just to be mentioned in.
Yeah, well, congrats again, and I don't know, that feels like a weird deal, like to enjoy the process of it, because you want it, but you don't want to overthink it, right? I mean, you don't want to be angry about it if you don't get in, but you're a human being. Orlando, you could probably speak to this.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing you can do as a player anymore. Obviously, you can't add to your resume any more than you've already done. So it's really just up to the voters. Obviously, Nick being a 7-time Pro Bowler, obviously playing for the Jets and one team, a large market. I'm sure he'll do well his first time out.
All right. Nick, any final thoughts for the voters out there who's watching Big Men Bets because they love the show?
Yes, because obviously this is where they get all their information. Vote for me, please.
All right, gentlemen, it is Brady Belichick week. If you want to sit close to Tom Brady at Foxborough this Sunday night, you can sit in section 131, row 18. That's going for $12,199 right now. So yes, the fans are excited to see Brady's return here. I wanted to start as we just move through this. Let's hit the top here. As we have seen what's happened with Brady going down to Tampa and what's gone on with the Pats since he's left. Bigger reason for the Patriots' success. Orlando, who do you think deserves more credit between the two?
Well, obviously, I think it's Tom and just what he's been able to do, being a 6th-round pick, obviously fighting his way through. But then, to do it to play the position as a player for 20 years at the quarterback position and still play at a high level, it speaks volumes to who he is. I've been retired for over 10 years, and he beat us at his first Super Bowl. So it's nothing but respect for what he's done in the National Football League. And him winning in Tampa last year kind of proved that he was a big part, if not a big part of the Patriots dynasty and their success. So I think he's one up on Bill. I think Bill wants this game this week this bad, no matter how they try to take the high road, the fake high road, and say all the right things. Trust me, in that locker room, he wants to beat Tom really bad.
Nick, he's 8-11 since Tom left. Maybe that's unfair because coaches need talent around him and the Patriots are lacking. But there's something to be said for 8-11, right?
There definitely is, and I think that shows the magnitude that Tom had on that team. But I do think, for as great as Tom is, and the fact that he's played for as long as he has, and he's won Super Bowls for 2 decades now, I think there also was a little bit of the perfect storm of Bill and Tom coming together at the same time. I think the Patriot way was defined by Bill, but led by Tom. I think that made it possible where you could have Your star quarterback, who everyone knows is fantastic. I mean, we've known he's been fantastic for years. Bill's still giving him crap about a practice or crap about, game film. When you're able to point at that in a team meeting and say, hey, listen, if he's giving it to Tom Brady and that's Tom Brady, I need to step up my game because he's definitely going to give it to me. So, I think it just elevated everything. And I think what we're watching now with Bill and a rookie QB is going to really tell us about what, Bill is, because we all know he's a fantastic coach. Can he start over without the once in a lifetime Hall of Fame, best quarterback of all time, Tom Brady? Can he, manage without it? And, it's going to be a neat season to watch that all unfold.
To me, that's just super interesting that here's Nick saying, I love that he's treating all the players the same, but I don't know. That's the quarterback. That's Tom Brady. Would it bother anybody in that locker room if you treated him differently?
Yeah, I think that was the issue. And I think Tom's trainer came out earlier in the week and said, hey, Bill was still treating Tom like a 20-year-old kid, and Tom's a 40-year-old man now. And so that Patriots way, obviously at some point you have to give that, you win, 6 championships with the ball club. You can't go in and really criticize a guy who's had that level of success and treat him like a 20-year-old guy. Now, I don't know how true that is, but there was a reason for the departure of Tom and Gronk and all those guys. So maybe Bill's the Patriot way doesn't extend to 40-year-olds, right? And at some point, you have to change a little bit, right? And who he was. So,
and if you wanted to argue on the other side of that, 4 Super Bowl appearances, 3 titles after he turned 37, and he's treating him like he's a 20-year-old. So I don't know. Maybe it worked.
Maybe it worked.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking back at your resumes against Brady. Nick, you guys did incredibly well against Tom. You beat him his rookie year in Foxborough. You also beat him in the playoffs. You beat him in 2008. Now, that was Matt Castle, so you're beating Belichick. In 2009, you beat him at home. In 2010, you beat him at home when the Patriots were 14-2, and you beat him in the playoffs. Maybe Nick Mangold and the Jets are the actual formula here. What do you think, Orlando, for cracking the Brady-Belichick formula here? I mean, come on.
Absolutely, man. I don't know if anybody has a better record than Nick and the Jets against the Patriots, man.
I mean, you're shaking your head, but you guys did have some success against them, so you figured something out, right?
Yeah, no, we did. And, I think that playoff win up in New England was kind of the pinnacle there, But at the same time, we also took some terrible losses to them. There was the incident, as I referred to it. We had another game where they just absolutely dominated us. And it's interesting, when you look at it, it's always been a Brady-led team and everything. But for me personally, it was having to go up. And anytime you talk about New England, the first person that comes to mind is Vince Wilfork, because that's the guy I had to go against every time because they lined up in that 3-4, and he was right on my head for the whole game. And so those battles between Vince and I were fantastic. But that's, so everyone talks about Brady, but, you kind of forget about the other pieces that are involved with that team.
You mentioned the incident. Are we talking about the butt fumble?
Yeah, I refer to it as the incident.
Right. I know. I appreciate your consistency, but hey, Mark Sanchez is your guy, but it wasn't his fault, right? I mean, come on, or somewhat his fault.
Yeah, I mean, and it was probably both their fault, both the running back and Mark's. I figure. The worst part for the incident for me is A, that I was involved with it. I wish I wasn't, but then B, the guy who that Mark had run into. The proverbial butt of the butt fumble, Brandon Moore, he takes heat because he was the one, he was blocking Vince Wilfork at the time, and they were in a great stalemate. And when against Vince, if you're in a stalemate, that probably means you're about winning, because that's about as good as you're going to do. And so he's just doing his job. Mark runs into him, fumbles, they score a touchdown off of it. And so he's always remembered as a member of the incident. And he had nothing to do with it. And I remember we were sitting there, I think it was a Thursday night game. And we were sitting there Friday morning And, ESPN was on in the cafeteria and they showed it. And Brandon was sitting there and he says, that's going to haunt me for the rest of my life. I was like, nah, no one's going to remember that. Like it'll be over. And he goes, do you ever watch, bloopers from the 70s? I was like, oh yeah. Some of those are pretty funny. He goes, yeah, that's exactly what that's going to be. And I'm going to be the one getting run into for the next 50 years. So I was like, nah, it's not going to happen. Next thing you know, it goes on for a year of the number one, not top 10. They just had to retire it. They just gave up because nothing was going to beat it.
It has stood the test of time. Hey, Orlando, I don't want to slight you here. Your Rams beat New England in 98. You guys were only 4-10. Now that was Pete Carroll, but still, let's just throw your history against the Patriots. Of course, You lost to them in the Super Bowl, but you beat them that year in the regular season. That puts you at 8-1. Maybe that makes the Super Bowl loss a little bit more painful. You lost in 08, but only by a touchdown on a 2-14 team. So you were right there. And by the way, that does bring in your history because the Jets beat you that year 47-3. That's the only time you guys played on the field. Does anybody remember that at all? Did you guys, do you know that you were on the field that day against each other? Because obviously you weren't lining up against each other.
No, I don't remember that game. I think I guess I do. Yeah. But yeah, when two teams probably weren't going to the playoffs at the time. We're just trying to get through, stay healthy, and try to win the game. But but you brought up the most painful loss, obviously that Super Bowl when that really started, Tom's dynasty campaign. In the Patriot way. But it was a tough one. We didn't know who this guy was, to be honest with you. We're like, hey, we beat him earlier in the year with Drew Bledsoe. And then, obviously the next, the Super Bowl, we're like, oh, yeah, it's Tom Brady. They're rolling out a backup quarterback. We beat him. So, we were confident. And then, obviously he came out, did what he did. And Adam Vinatieri, kicked the field goal to beat us, which is still painful to this day.
And just last one here on it. In 2009, you're with the Bears and you go back, Orlando, to play the Rams. Now that was, it's last year for you in the league, and it's a bad Bears team that went 17-9, but you beat the Rams that year. Did that game mean a whole lot more to you than any other game on the schedule that season?
No, I was probably 2 games away from retirement. So I was just like, dude, let's just get out of here. It probably would have been different. Which is true. I was sitting there thinking, what I'm going to do in retirement there. But it would have been different had I come back to St. Louis and play in the Dome and just be a part of that part. We were in Chicago at the time playing in Soldier Field. So it was different, but it was still a little odd seeing a lot of guys that I played against that I was teammates with for a number of years and just playing against the Rams when you see them roll out. So it was a little different for me just facing the Rams at the time. So,
yeah. Who do we think this game means more to? Last one here between Brady and Belichick. Is it equal? Does anybody have an edge on who you guys think it means more to?
I think it's pretty equal.
Yeah, I would say it's probably equal as well. Like it just having Brady coming back to New England, I don't know what that environment's going to be like. And, I wish, you said it was $12,000 for a seat. That's a little pricey to get there to feel that environment. But like as a New England Patriots fan, you have to, I would believe, he won you so many Super Bowls, you would have to be supportive of him coming back, but then at the same time, it's not on your guys' team. So, then it's an away team. I don't know. Like, it's going to be interesting to feel that the spirit of the stadium, like I feel like everyone's going to be torn. They're going to be like, this is our guy that brought us all these championships, but now he's not with us anymore. It's going to be, I'm really looking forward to just getting a sense of that atmosphere because I think for Bill and Brady, they both want to win desperately. So I think it's equal between the two of them. Brady because he just wants to beat Bill, and Bill because he wants to prove that it was not just Tom, it was, him as well. So I think they're equal in that. I'm more intrigued by the fans. Like, what's the stadium going to be? What's the reaction going to be when he comes out of the tunnel wearing the Buccaneers uniform? What's it going to be when he throws his first touchdown? It's just, there's going to be that mix of emotions that I don't even think the fans, I've talked to a couple of my buddies who are Patriots fans, and I don't even think they know what they're going to think of it when they see it. You know, they've watched Tom be in a Buccaneers uniform, but now that he's in New England, it just kind of hits differently. So it's going to be the fans are the one I'm most intrigued by.
This is a betting show. Do we got odds on whether the fans will boo Brady if he scores a touchdown or not? That is that'll be interesting to see.
If it was me, I'd be cheering Brady for the record. That's where my allegiance would lie. All right, let's move on, team, and we're all looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome. Let's move on to Pittsburgh and take a look at 39-year-old Ben Roethlisberger. First off, Nick, is he done? Is it over?
You know, I don't know. They touted up that he was, you know, he had fixed his diet and he was really focused on this year and his body and make sure everything works well. But it doesn't seem to take. And so I don't know. It doesn't look like he's having fun. Now, obviously, when you're losing, no one's having fun. But, you know, there's got to be a point where you're playing and, you know, he's made tons of money. So I don't think he's playing for the money anymore. I think he's playing just for the joy. And if the joy is not there, I think, you know, you gotta admit that, put your hand up and say, listen, I don't have the joy of the game anymore. I got to call it quits. So I'm not sure if we're there yet. You know, it's still early in the season, but if we continue this path, you know, it's not looking great for Big Ben.
This was his comments, Orlando, you know, to Nick's point, like, does he have the fire here? Quote, I'm going to look guys in the eye and make sure no one else is quitting. I don't believe there will be any. We won't quit from me or the coaching staff. So there's something left, at least motivation wise, I guess.
Yeah, that could be considered fake news too, coming off a bad game, big time. But I think the Steelers as a whole didn't do him, you know, a 39-year-old quarterback, and you get rid of 3 of his veteran linemen during the offseason. That's not a good formula for anybody, especially an aging quarterback who's been through, you know, years of battles and things like that. So they didn't do him any good deeds by, you know, getting rid of those linemen. And then they got to set them up. You know, obviously they got receivers on the outside. They got to run the ball and play good defense. That's the way the Steelers have always had success.
Okay, so do either of you move to sit him? You got Mason Rudolph sitting there. You got Dwayne Haskins. Is anybody saying, "Hey Ben, it's time"?
See, I think that's a tough one for the Steelers organization to sit him, because you better make sure that Rudolph is the answer, or Haskins. I don't think he's the answer, but you got to make sure one of those guys are the answer, and they can go on and push the ball down the field to some of those receivers. They have some talent on the outside at receiver. But those guys got to make those throws. And if you replace him, I don't know if you can go back to Ben at that point, because he's such an icon there in the Pittsburgh community.
Yeah, you know, we saw that with the Giants when they sat down Eli. And, you know, I think they put in Geno Smith, which to me was a crazy move, because you knew what you had in Geno Smith. They should have put in anybody. If they were going to do it, should have put in anybody else. But it was not a good look. And, you know, I think no matter what you do, you need to have the discussion with Ben and say, hey, listen, we're either, you know, we got to let you finish this year. I think that's where they're at, unless he gets hurt. You know, I think sitting him down, an iconic quarterback for your organization, been there for years. I just don't think you can say, hey, we're at a point now, you know, especially as we get later in the season, maybe they get mathematically eliminated, where, all right, we're going to sit you and we're going to put you down. It's not going to go over well. Even if they are terrible, it's just not going to go over well with the Steeler fan base. And, you know, it's just, they put themselves in a bad spot, and you hate to see, you know, as guys get older and, you know, they're getting towards the end of their career, especially as a quarterback, because you're so visible and you're the face of the franchise, that, you know, time comes for everybody. And, you know, except for Tom Brady, time is yet to come for Tom Brady. But it's just, they're in a tough spot because you sit them down. It's not a good look for the franchise.
Is there any good way to have that conversation, Orlando? I mean, how does a coach do that properly whenever it is?
You would hope in that situation that Mike Tomlin and have a relationship, and at some point, Ben has to be honest with himself in terms of his skill level at this point of his career. Even though as an athlete, that's very tough to do because our mind says, "Hey, we could still go out there and do it," but our body or our arm may say something different physically. So I think obviously Tomlin has to make a big decision on the organization. They do have one out. They could go down, and I think, and one of my friends who are a good Steelers friend said they need to go down and make a call to Houston just to see if they can obviously Deshaun out of Houston to see if they can make that trade happen. That would be big for the organization. But to the point, if you move Ben now, what is that saying to the rest of the locker room? Is that saying we're giving up on the season when you got guys on the other side of the ball that's fighting, trying to win a championship, and you let your quarterback sit? So I think obviously the Steelers is a first-class organization. I think they will handle it correctly just by everything else that they've done over the past 20 years. So I think Mike Tomlin has that type of respect. He knows when it's time to sit Big Ben.
All right, let's move from the vet, and we'll continue, obviously, to follow what happens with Pittsburgh. An interesting game with the Packers this week. But let's move from the vet to the rookie quarterbacks who are massively struggling from Trevor Lawrence on down. I don't know if you guys saw this coming, but bottom line, the movement has been to play rookie QBs because of the way the salary cap is and the value you get in learning if they can play sooner than later. But are they being ruined by playing them too early? Nick, you want to start with this one? What do you think?
Yes, I think so. And I think it's been the trend in the NFL, even after they switched around how the rookie pay scale goes. So you weren't getting the Matthew Staffords where you're ending up with, an $80 million contract for a kid that's never thrown a ball in the NFL. And they're still getting paid a good chunk of change. But now, you see the trend of having to play rookie QBs, and it's not working out so great. It is a big transition from college to the NFL. I think being able to sit and kind of learn and understand and get the experience of how to watch film, how to be a part of an organization where you're dealing with guys that are, either 22 and guys that are 36. There's a big span. This isn't college where it's 18 to 22 and, you're all kind of in the same mold. You want to say, look at like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers gets drafted. He sits behind Brett Favre for a couple of years and just comes out balling. I think a part of that was being able to sit back and get the experience. So yes, I think they're throwing them to the fire too fast. And you end up with guys taking too many hits, getting, seeing the ghost and being gun shy. You look at Sam Darnold, he obviously came with the Jets. They started him right away, struggled for the first 3 years. Now he's 3-0, with the new team. So I think it is something that the NFL is doing, and it's doing a disservice to the rookie QBs.
Orlando, are you with Nick on this, or do you just, I don't know, you play them and hey, if they're not tough enough to handle it, well, then that's just too bad?
Well, I think it depends on the system they're in. And obviously with the NFL, if you look at Mac Jones with the Patriots, I think he'll be fine because I think Josh Daniels, Bill Belichick puts him in the proper situations to have success. I don't think they're going to let him get beat up. Now, the thing that kind of got me a little ticked off this week is what Matt Nagy did with Chicago, man. He completely set Justin Fields up. When you draft a guy in the draft and you sit back, you got to know what his strengths and weaknesses are. You can't sit back with a poor offensive line and let this guy sit back 20 times and get killed without Chipman, Myles Garrett, or Clowney, either one of those guys. So when you see situations like that, this guy will probably, if he doesn't get fired at some point or change up the game plan for Justin Fields, he will ruin that kid year one because, obviously you got these guys coming at him, taking all these hits. He'll be David Carr number 2, and it'll be sad because this guy has a ton of athletic ability. But to your point, the pressure of winning in the National Football League is great. Coaches are only getting a couple years to try to develop some of these guys. So you just hope you put them in the right position to win.
All right, topic for today, guys. The most underrated in the NFL, the most overrated player in the NFL. We're putting you on the spot here and basically asking you to, in essence, call out the media for our – I'm just going to call myself the media, and you guys are still – even though you're with us now. Who give me an underrated. Let's go on the positive that's not getting enough shine. Nick, you want to start here?
Yeah, so I'll take Derek Carr. He's been playing fantastic. Those Raiders are doing a great job. And, when we talk about quarterbacks, you were always talking about Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, and Russell Wilson. And, you have your top tier. And I feel like he's kind of getting left behind, but he's doing a fantastic job with the Raiders. And I hope he keeps it up because it's fun seeing Gruden and the Raiders be relevant and be good and winning ball games. I think that's good just for the league in general.
Orlando, you were shaking. You were nodding there. I think you want to say the same answer, but go ahead.
No, I did. Obviously I've been riding that, the Raiders bandwagon for a couple of weeks now. But, a guy who, when you look at the season, I don't think anybody expected Arizona Cardinals to be 3-0. Kyler Murray and what he's done, and I wasn't really high on him coming out because I thought he was too small. He couldn't have success in this league, and I'm sure he'll get some shine, obviously, this week playing the Rams. But just what he's doing out there in Arizona with that team, and I know he has some weapons. So he's one of those guys that probably needs to be talked about more in terms of even MVP race. Get him going a little bit. He's doing a great job out there with the Cardinals.
Let's flip to the
Good answer.
Yeah, I like it too. He's a ton of fun to watch also. Okay, overrated, Nick. I'm putting you on the spot first here.
Woo, that's tough. That is tough.
I got a good one. I'm going with a whole group of players. Overrated rookie quarterbacks. We came in the season. Trevor Lawrence was supposed to light up the world. Zach Wilson was supposed to be the savior of the Jets. Justin Fields, who I think is a great talent because I'm biased to Ohio State. He didn't look great. So I'm grouping them all together. And I'm going to say rookie quarterbacks were way too overrated as we were going through the spring and the summer coming into the season.
This specific crop or rookie quarterbacks in general? Are we talking just the 2021?
No, the 2021 group. They have not shown to the hype that we carried them in with. They've not lived up to it yet. So I'm sticking with the whole group. They're all getting lumped together.
Okay. Orlando, you're up.
I agree. I think, I was going to use, we could all pile on the rookies, man. But Trevor Lawrence, who's been obviously since his sophomore year at Clemson, everybody's been saying he's the next coming. I just want to see what he can do. I think being the number one pick, obviously I just want to see what some of these rookie quarterbacks do, in particular him, because he's been guarded the savior of the NFL for the next 10 years. So just want to see what he can do. And I know it's hard. It's only 3 games, so I don't want to pile on him too much. But my other guy is Kirk Cousins. I don't know why, just because I don't know if he's had that level of success to get as much acclaim as he's received. So he has to show and prove a little bit this year too.
Well, I like Kirk coming up on blast. The Vikings are interesting though. They could be 3-0. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows where they're going to end up? All right, let's go to our picks. We got some huge games this week. Last week, Nick, your pick of the week was New England. That didn't go well. Saints beat them 28-13. Orlando, you had a tough loss. The Raiders -4. They were 3. Ouch. Your upset of the week, though, did not go well. You somehow picked the Bears, which should have been put on the show. That's on me. Nick, you had the Packers. You got them at 3.5. So good job there. Overall records, by the way, you're both 3-4 on the year. So the battle is as tight as can be. Nick, you're up first. Let's get your pick of the week.
Pick of the week this week is Cowboys -4.5 versus the Panthers. They look fantastic Monday night. I don't think the Panthers are a real 3-0 team. And so I'm taking Cowboys -4. In Jerry's world, they're going to dominate.
Don't forget, by the way, winbet.com for all your wagering needs. Orlando, pick of the week.
I'm going with the game of the week, the Belichick Brady Bowl, man. I'm going Tampa Bay +6.5 over New England. I think it's going to be a rout. I think Brady's going to come out, put on the show. Those guys are probably a little upset at how they performed against the Rams. He's going back home. I think they're gonna, and guys in Tampa in that locker room are going to want to win for Brady. I think it's going to be a blowout.
And in the 20 minutes that we started this show, that line has actually moved to the Patriots are now a 7-point favorite.
7-point, gotcha.
So I mean, it literally just ticked up. So as we're doing the show here, so there we go. The money's coming in on the Bucks, and Orlando, you got some of that too. Upset of the week, Orlando, you're up first.
I'm going with the Lions over the Bears, man. The Bears looked so bad last week. Matt Nagy has no idea who's going to be a starting quarterback. Obviously, the Lions lost a tough game last week against the Ravens, but I think they bounced back, get their first victory this week.
Nick?
All right, so I was going to take the same Lions plus 2.5, but for the spirit of the contest, I have another one. I'm going to take the Cardinals plus 4.5 over the Rams. Like Orlando was saying, Kyler Murray's done a fantastic job, and so I think this is his time to shine, and he's going to show it on a national stage.
For the record, I love Nick's pick. The public is all over the Rams right now, and I still believe, and will always believe, that the public is going to be wrong. Let's do our over-unders. Nick, you can go first on the number play.
Yeah, so I'm taking of the Lions and Bears game, I'm taking the under. It's 42 right now. I don't think they're going to score a point either team, so I think it's going to be a 0-0 tie. So the under is an easy play.
Orlando.
Yep, for me, I'm going with my Raiders, who I've been picking every week, versus the Los Angeles Chargers, 52 points. I think I'm going over, taking the over on that game. I think it's going to be a shootout. Both of those teams' offenses are playing really well right now, so I think it'll be a good game, and it'll be a high-scoring game.
Gentlemen, great to be with you as we head into week 4 with the Hall of Famer, Orlando Pace, and the now on the ballot, going to be there someday, hopefully soon, Nick Mangold, the 7-time Pro Bowler. Thank you so much for checking out Big Man Bets. Be here every week, and we will see you after Brady and Belichick tee it up on Sunday night.